So I have your album, uh, and so tell me how the album came to be, because you've been Dead Famous People for years and years, and this is the first one. So there's got to be a story behind that.
That's the first one for a long time. Otherwise, we did an EP on Flying Nun,
right?
And then we did an EP with Billy Bragg's label Utility in London. Then we did another one with, who was it? La Di Da Records. A couple of indie, like a few indie releases.
Right.
Yeah, so that's like the first one in a long time.
But this is a full album. It's not an EP, so that's a major thing. And so what happened? Fire found you and asked you about it, or how did it come about?
I found a message on my phone from an American guy called John Henderson, who he'd been talking to the guy from Fire in a club in London, and said, "Oh, have you heard these guys?" And they said no. He shared the link with them, and then Fire got back to him and said, "Can we hear some more of that?" And then we got signed about 3 weeks later.
That's pretty quick. What was your reaction? How did you deal with that?
Well, at first I thought it was like a crazy person,
right?
Like who was messaging me, and that it was some kind of joke, because it sounded so unbelievable.
Right.
Because I'd just been, I knew that the Chills were on Fire, and I thought, well, we haven't been around for years and years. Why would we ever,
Right.
Excuse that motorbike.
That's all right.
Oh yeah, at first I thought it was a crazy dude.
But it wasn't.
It wasn't.
So did you have songs ready to go, or what did you have to do to get this thing underway?
Oh well, the songs that John had shared with Fire were old ones, so they asked for some newer stuff, and luckily we'd been working on some, my friend and I, Diane, had been working on some new demos and just sent those over.
Oh, okay. So who is Dead Famous People these days besides yourself?
Anybody who is free.
So the album was recorded in Auckland. Whereabouts? How did that come? What's the situation there?
Well, I went back to the same studio that we first recorded in with Flying Nun in the 80s, the Lab.
Right. The Lab. Oh, it's just down the street here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We went back there, and so that worked out well, and got it all done with them.
Cool. So what were the sessions like? How did they go?
It was really difficult because me working full time as well. I had to, and I've got a son that does ballet.
All right.
So he's a full-on ballet career. So there's a lot of busy stuff going on as well as recording. Right. So I had to kind of fit it in here and there. It felt a bit disjointed because none of the musicians had ever really met or been in the same room. You know, some of them had, but not. We just have a cohesive sort of thing. So we just had to make it work by messaging and getting one person and then the next person. So cool. Yeah.
And you mentioned the Chills. So what is you must have some kind of relationship with them. I know you sang on some of their older records and whatever. So, and you have a song called Goddess of Chill on the album.
Yeah. Goddess of Chill, yeah, that's about insomnia. That's not about the chills, but yeah, did sing on Heavenly Prophet years ago.
Yeah. how'd that happen?
I was in England with Dead Famous People, and their manager called and asked if I'd do some backing vocals.
Right.
Yes, it was pretty cool.
And have you seen the documentary about the Chills?
I do have regrets. I've told myself the appropriate lies. You go to great lengths to create a self-serving reality.
80% of your liver is no longer functioning. You've got a 31% chance of dying within 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, I love that film. That was a great movie.
Did you think it gave kind of a accurate representation of Martin Phillips and the rest of the crew?
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
Well,
so when you went in to record this record, what was the plan? I mean, did they say, we want you to get out and tour and make a whole record and kind of restart your career?
no, they just said, can you make an album?
Right.
With options for another album.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you got another one in the works?
Already started that. It's coming along well. It's kind of halfway through, really.
I mean, you got to admit it's kind of an odd way of working because you've been Dead Famous People for a long time, but very little output. And most bands put all their output at the beginning of their career, not at 35 years later. So how do you explain that?
It is kind of strange. I did want to give our son, the most time I could while he was a child.
Right.
And not to regret, didn't want regret. So, I was too busy for you. So
right.
That's why. And I'll catch up.
It sounds like you will. So are you going to do gigs and stuff? Are you doing shows?
Well, we were about to do The Other's Way when, COVID came along.
Yeah.
And so now, then the guitarist left, so we don't have one anymore. So maybe, yeah, it would be good to make that happen.
When was the last time the band of any kind of played out?
Wow, that was, I can't remember. It would have been in London.
Right.
Yeah, been in London in the early 90s maybe.
Right. That's a long ways to go. So what have you been doing? Have you just been raising your son and doing other stuff?
I wrote songs all the way through.
Right.
So, I was doing something with it. And I also painted paintings and had exhibitions.
Oh, what kind of paintings?
Just random kind of paintings. I can't really say. Colours and shapes more.
Okay. And have you sold any?
Yeah, I did used to sell them all.
Oh, great.
When I'd had an exhibition. I had a few exhibitions and then got back into music. Once Harry was like 13 or something, I thought it was, okay, I've given him these younger years, maybe time to start the music again. That's when I started back doing demo.
Well, that explains the title of the album, is Harry.
Yeah.
What does he think of your music career revival?
He thinks it's pretty cool, but he's very involved in his ballet world and a little bit too busy to notice what I'm doing.
Right. So maybe we can touch on a couple of the songs. We've mentioned Goddess of Chill, but it opens up with a song called Looking at Girls. So what can you tell me about where that came from and how you got that together?
Oh, I was driving along through Greyland.
Yeah.
Saw a bus stop with like a whole row of people waiting for the bus. I thought if you just turn around a little bit to look there a little longer, you could easily crash your car. And then the tune just came into my head,
Right.
Which is always the way it happens. The tune just comes you know, visiting upon me.
For you to come home. Got later and later, I tried your cell phone. That's when I heard the siren slowly cry. Ran down the road to ask them how and why. Yes, I'm caught on its side. They said you crashed the car, looking at them.
Right. So was it frustrating not being able to record these songs all these years and just write them?
Yeah, I really didn't know how to start, even if or where to start. I'd been so long out of the scene and, you know, more involved as a parent.
Right. So that song, Looking at Girls, is kind of more upbeat and almost sounds like the Chills, as a matter of fact. But then there's one called Dead Bird's Eye, which is slower and more atmospheric. What can you tell me about that?
Again, I was out driving out South Auckland. I remember every place I drove when a song came to me.
Right.
So I was, in South Auckland, and you know, I think about the environment as we all do now, a lot.
Right.
Well, maybe we do. I do. You know,
Try
the
to.
trouble. And yeah, the words and lyrics just come to me
Right.
over the course of maybe a drive somewhere and back, and it's all there.
The ocean cries aloud. Oh, how she cries. Oh, how she tires of all are taken.
Cool. On the track To Be Divine, are there horns on that?
Yeah, trumpets.
Ah, who's,
Are they fake?
are they real?
They're not real.
I thought so, but
Yeah, but it's hard to get a real sounding trumpet.
so did you have who else worked with you on making the record?
Diane Civil, she was in a band called the Vibra Slaps years ago, and
Okay.
her sister was in Marie and the Atom. And Keria Patterson, he's KMTP. He was on drums,
Uh-huh.
and then the bass player was John Slivsgard, and he's in a band called Are We Dead Yet?
Oh, right. Okay.
I think that's his band. And that was that all? Yeah, just us. Oh, and Christine White, she's and Joel Mulholland.
Oh, Joel. Okay. Well, he works up at the lab, so that you probably couldn't keep him out.
Yeah, and Oliver Harmer, who's the engineer there, he's like multi-talented.
That's true. That's true. Yes, indeed. Yeah, he seems to be on a lot of records these days. So, I mean, when the band first started in 1985 or whenever it was the music business and scene must have been very different here in Auckland than it is now. How would you compare them?
I think there was just a lot more verse chorus pop around, and now there's more grooves and like beats and stuff like that happening. Yeah.
And do you see any of the old folks? Do you see Martin Phillips? Do you see any folks from back in the day?
No, they all live in the South Island, I believe. I don't know. I don't really see many people from. I didn't really know them either.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I met all of them once in London. We all played together. I think it was the Bats, the Chills, the Clean. Yeah,
Yep.
we all played one gig together, and I think I just met them once. Apart
Really?
from Martin. Yeah, but I've met Martin a couple of times.
So it sounds like you're kind of disjointed from the rest of the scene. Why is that? Is that from being in Auckland or?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. So you've got the second album is getting near completion.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about that?
I'm working with a couple of the same people, but
Right.
then there's a different guy called Alex Ross Smith. He's from the Cootie Cooties.
Okay.
And, he's doing drums and bass. Him and
Ah.
Ollie Palmer are doing drums and bass.
All righty.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's face it, nowadays people don't really pay for music much or do any of that kind of stuff. It's putting it out there on the internet and then hoping you get some money from some gigs. So are you going to be performing at all?
I hope so, yeah. It's a matter of getting busy people that are usually working full time. It's not like when you're like 19 and no one had a job and
Right.
you're all just, you're all, usually everyone's working or in other bands. So it's not as easy.
Yeah. So you got to find a time when everybody's available. I see.
Yeah, and find a guitarist because our guitarist sort of
Oh, there's plenty of guitarists around. You should be able to find somebody.
Are you one?
Not me though. Does your son play music? I know you say he's a ballet dancer, but is he?
He learnt piano. He learnt piano at school, but he's really into dance. Dance is his passion. So, yeah, there's no time, no room for music.
That's
Well,
pretty
there
cool.
is. There's dance.
Very good. All righty. Well, I'll let you go. It looks like it's turning into. We'll go out tonight and see if we can celebrate the level 1 thing happening here.
Yeah.
But yeah, good luck with the record. It's good to see.
Thanks, Marty.
My pleasure.
Appreciate the time. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.